This is TechCrunch. The U.S. government is set to take an awful lot of control over which AI models get released. 2 weeks after the U.S. government pulled Anthropic's Fable and Mythos models, OpenAI's new model seems to be headed for the same limbo. The information broke the news on Thursday that GPT 5.6 would be released only into limited preview, with the government approving the release customer by customer until a general release could be approved. Now, if that preview only lasts a couple of weeks, as Sam Altman reportedly projected, that might not be a particularly big problem. But Mythos has already been in preview for months, and there's no indication it will make it to general release anytime soon. Even a few weeks spent in review could significantly limit the economic upside of a costly new system at a time when AI labs are trying desperately to improve their bottom lines. If the pace of model development slows as a result, it is likely to put a similar chill on the ongoing data center build-out. If this goes bad, the entire industry could be at risk. Critically, OpenAI and Anthropic are now in the same exact position with the same problems facing them and the same disaster waiting if they fail. Conversations within the tech industry tend to focus on the role of one side or another in bringing this on, either accusing Anthropic of running a regulatory capture scheme or accusing OpenAI of cozying up to Trump to ice out a rival. And it's understandable, many of the most prominent people in the industry have billions of dollars riding on one company or the other. But what's happening now is bigger than that. The cost of implementing a haphazard government approval process for every frontier model is obvious, and there's no fix that helps one lab without helping the others. The most immediate problem is simply establishing a release process that makes sense. It's fine for the government to test models before release. That's how it works for lots of consumer products, but as GMU fellow and soon-to-be OpenAI employee Dean Ball detailed in an eloquent post last week, it's not clear what kind of safety assurances could be put in place to satisfy regulators. The U.S. government does not have the expertise or the capacity for the kind of testing that would be needed here. It's not even clear what regulators would be trying to protect against, since there's been no effort to articulate what risks the government is actually concerned about. It's tempting to see the government process as the whole of the problem itself, but there are real concerns underneath. Even if you don't believe the mythos hype, there's clear evidence of how AI tools are revolutionizing cybersecurity. There are similar processes at work in biorisk and alignment. Restricting model releases cannot be the whole answer in itself. That will only limit what's available to the public, but there are real concerns to be addressed. The best ideas for addressing them, as laid out by Ball, will mean working together. It will mean trusting independent groups to guide the process, even if they don't completely align with your goals. It will mean lining up behind the least bad regulatory options available, instead of fighting every regulation tooth and nail. And most of all, it will mean fighting for AI as an industry, instead of seeing safety and regulation as opportunities to gain an advantage. For a lot of people working in AI, that will be a tough sell. Unfortunately, AI models have progressed to the point where their capabilities have real political consequences. Dealing with those consequences will require collective action. In the weeks to come, we'll find out if that's something the industry is capable of. Well, in the off chance that you were worried what Novak Djokovic was going to do once his tennis career came to an end, you no longer have to worry. General Atlantic has tapped the tennis legend to serve as a global strategic advisor, where, according to a press release, he will work closely with the firm's leadership, portfolio companies, and investors, bringing perspectives on leadership, resilience, and innovation that reflect General Atlantic's commitment to excellence. The news came just days before Djokovic is set to play at Wimbledon, with his eyes set on a 25th Grand Slam title. The partnership, in many ways, makes a lot of sense. Djokovic has invested in a handful of wellness companies, including Waterdrop back in 2023, and co-founded his own supplement company, Sela, in 2024, followed by the clean snack food company Cobb Foods in 2025. He also backed the wearables company Incrediwear. As reported by Bloomberg, General Atlantic hopes to leverage Djokovic's network to gain further exposure to the health and wellness sector. At the same time, the firm is hoping to expand further into sports investing, having over the past couple of years taken stakes in a football club, a sports stadium, as well as a sports media agency. The presence of private equity in tennis has increased, with General Atlantic being just the latest name to enter the game. The firm's CEO said in an interview with Bloomberg that Djokovic had strong views about how professional tennis can be reshaped and that there'll be opportunities there. That's all for now. For the latest in tech news, go to TechCrunch.com.